The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. Send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
Tuesday, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it. We're live.
Hi.
We're live.
Good
Hello,
morning, everyone.
There in Radio Land. And also on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can search for us at Your Team Pros on YouTube, and you should find us. For any of you of our listeners, I have to apologize. Randy got to our emails again. I'm not sure what he did. We've been telling him, Randy, do not touch it. But you know how Randy is. Once you say don't, he has to go and do it. And unfortunately, if you did send us an email, it may have bounced back. So resend that again at onair@yourteam.pro. I got to it. Your savior is here, so no worries. I fixed Randy's problem, and we should be good to go. So onair@yourteam.pro if you have any real estate or renting questions that you want to get at us, and we would love to hear from you.
And I'm wondering if there are any females out there that are getting into real estate or in real estate. I need some help. I'm like outnumbered here by men, and I'm getting shots at me all morning here. I need help. Come join my team.
I don't know if it was really a shot though. You said 1 year your buzz wasn't working. And I just said maybe it's earwax. Maybe it could be.
That is not what you said.
That
is what he said.
Maybe you got too much wax in your ear.
No, he said maybe.
Yeah, but still maybe it's a possibility.
Oh yeah, okay.
I quite kind of think it was.
My husband's rubbing off on everybody, and it ain't good.
I would never have said something that callous.
No, what did you say before that?
How much I love you?
That is not what you said.
It wasn't. I've never told you that. Tell you that every day. Do I not tell you I love you every day?
Yes, but you
several times.
You said
a
my
day.
sweater was ugly.
But that's your sweater. You're not taking that personal, are you? Or is your sweater something personal to you?
When I'm wearing it is very personal and very close to me.
And I didn't say it was ugly. What I said is it's you're advertising DKNY.
It's on. It's on. So let's go.
I just like to get it straight. I like to get two things straight. When we said, okay, we're not supposed to put other people's logos and everything on our show. So, the fact that you have a DKNY sweater on is sort of like a logo, and it really shouldn't be on the show. But don't worry about it because it doesn't look like anybody's going to run out and buy it anyways. So I was just trying to protect you from feeling bad about having the logo on.
See, ladies, this is what I deal with.
That was all.
I'm alone here, very alone.
So I thought I was being quite sensitive there. And with your comment about the emails, I don't go into this technical stuff. All that happened is I did my Randy Rant show, Randy Rodney Raw, which I actually like the Randy Rant show, which was Tuesday at 9:30 from 9:30 to 10. And we gave the same...
9:30 to 10:30, isn't it an hour?
You did a show for half an hour?
No, from 9:30 to 10:30.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I can't see you talking for less than half an hour.
Good point. And
yeah, no, because I spoke to him when the show was over, and he's like, that was pretty easy. I had no problem to talk for an hour. I'm like, really? We never doubted you. We never doubted you.
So we had that, and we used the same on-air email. And what happened was, I think because I was on my own and people got a full hour of Randy, I think what happened was we just got way too much responses, and we just blew the servers. And
Blew the servers.
Yeah, and so I think that's what happened there, and there just was not enough room to get anything else in. So
I'm just happy you have good self-confidence.
Yeah, no, I'm
It's
just.
a good thing.
He's not lacking in that area.
I'm just sort of guessing at what could have happened, and so that was my response to
Well,
that.
we had one email that came in from Tim. I think Tim is trying to help you out here to help the confidence a little bit. He says, "Hey, congratulations to Randy. I listened to his new radio show the other day, and I enjoyed it. P.S. You have mic feedback in your broadcast." Yeah,
That's going to stop soon, hopefully.
There
There
it's
you
gone.
go. It's gone.
Yeah.
And that's how I
Thank
do
you,
it.
Tim.
That's going to stop soon.
Unfortunately, it's our neighbor that the noise is kind of traveling through. The dentist, she's over there working on somebody's mouth.
So nice, it's gone. Okay, so
She's so nice to be cooperative like that. That's really nice of her.
yeah, she's sweet. Well, I mean, yesterday there was a whole bunch of noise going on here, so I made my rounds around to everybody to ask them if they have any clients coming in or anything while we're making the noise. And she had clients from 2 o'clock, so I came back and told them 2 o'clock. We gotta cut the hammering. You can
Go
only
lunch.
do light stuff, and
But they were pretty quick getting rid of all
they were
that,
pretty
though.
good.
in
And
the
then
front there,
so we reciprocate. We reciprocate.
No, I'm not saying we don't. I'm just giving. You don't need.
Well, I-
because I said something nice about her, you didn't need to come in and try to take her glory.
Oh no, I don't think it was. And you know what? Actually, I was just thinking about it because you said, "Yeah, we are nice," and I was just wondering what you did about it. And I was thinking, and there wasn't.
I calmed her
anything, so
down.
I
calmed her down
confused.
yesterday when I was leaving at like 5 o'clock,
was
and I
really
said, "Yeah,
confused.
it's okay. He really means well.
Yeah, okay.
He's just raw."
Who's raw?
You,
So who were you talking to?
the dentist.
When? Really? Before you were
Yeah,
leaving?
when I was leaving yesterday,
Who's raw?
because she was talking about. Isn't it your new show, Randy Rodney Raw? Come on, are you awake today?
No, I'm awake, but you told her about the show or what?
Oh my goodness gracious!
I just love to dig it in, man. It's just
Oh
fun.
my! You know what? I am wore down. After like 25, 26 years, I'm so worn down.
I think that would make you acutely aware of your
No.
aggressive surroundings, of your verbally abusive surroundings.
I know, all of you.
You know, come to think of it, it is aggressive as we're being with you. This is a very aggressive market. So I was talking to the market. What?
From one of
That's
our-
the new sweater.
Crazy.
Yeah, so we have another email. I'm not sure how to describe this from Carl.
That's Carl again. Hi, Carl.
I don't know if it's the same Carl, but he has a picture of Jackie's potential sweater. Let's just say
Ugly
it's a
Christmas sweater.
ugly Christmas sweater, and you have
Got a Rudolph there.
Rudolph's nose and his nose in a very revealing spot, inappropriate spot.
Carl, I'm concerned. Where did you find that photo?
I don't know if that would be considered inappropriate, considering that the teacher who's wearing the prosthetic breast, big, huge,
I don't have prosthetic
double Z prosthetic breast to shop class in Oakville,
Yes.
one of the most prestigious areas in Ontario.
Yeah, but just because the
And-
area is prestigious doesn't
and
mean everybody in it is.
He's wearing.
Wait.
She's wearing, but I think he's just trolling them because this guy was a rebel.
That's not
He got
cool,
in
then.
trouble. He got in trouble for going for not like being sensitive about gender neutral bathrooms and all this stuff, and he was actually getting himself in trouble with
yeah.
it. So then all of a sudden he converted to a woman with big, huge breasts, tight top. Like the breasts are, if he sticks out his arms, they basically almost go to the end of his
No.
fingers.
Were they that big?
That's how big they are.
They're
They
big.
were not that
They're
big.
the- well, how big-
I saw photos. They were not that
Okay,
big.
they went to at least his
You are-
elbow.
They were,
Yeah,
they're ridiculously
possibly.
big. But
They're
yeah.
impossibly big.
Like,
Yeah.
let me tell you,
Impossibly- they're bigger
if they
than
were
his head.
heavy and they were that big, he'd be on the
Who
ground.
says they're heavy? 'Cause
Face
they're prosthetic.
first.
They're prosthetics, and they're bigger
I
than his
said
head.
if they were.
They're about 1.5 times his head, and each one that he has on, and he's wearing bicycle shorts with them, like the tight bicycle shorts with a tight top, and this is what he wears to class, and it's
Okay,
just-
anyways, that's
and-
enough.
Yeah, and so I think that sweater Rudolph
Oh,
is
yeah.
cool.
We
What?
didn't do the contest.
Oh no, we're doing we'll do the contest next week, because.
Next week, guys.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I'll let you know what we're going to ask. We're going to poll everyone to ask, because everyone who responds will be entered into the draw. 2 questions. 1, was there a real estate crash in 2022? Do you believe that the real estate market crashed in 2022? And second question is, do you believe the real estate market will crash in 2023? And that will be it. It doesn't matter what your answer is. It's your own personal answer, but it'll be a poll that we send out, and each person that enters the poll will go into the draw. That is what I did. I made the executive decision that we would do
okay.
for the draw for next week. So everybody who wants to be in that draw for a chance to win $25 gift certificate, $25 gift card
Gift card,
from
Amazon.
Amazon. You will send us in your email so that we can have a copy of it. And if you've already sent in before, you will already be on the list. But if you haven't and you want to be part of that draw, you have to either live in Canada or the United States, and we will, because that's the only place we can send.
Yeah, we
these.
did have more
Because Amazon-
listeners over the world, and then they dropped off. Maybe that's why.
You can send Amazon card anywhere. You can send Amazon card anywhere.
With the technology that we currently have available to
okay.
us, those are only 2 countries that
that
we
accept
can
it, okay.
do it for. What was I going to say? Yes, you're right. Canada, for the first time. Now, we've done shows for a number of years. And then we had stopped during COVID for almost 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we started back up. But we were on air a couple of years before that. We have never had more, it was
listeners.
always more
More
U.S.
US,
listeners
yeah.
than Canadian. And this last week, Canadians took over.
Yeah, just like hockey.
So, just like in hockey.
Woohoo!
So, so that was pretty exciting. I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping with respects to last week. We did talk about in 1969, in the beginning of the show, we talked about 1969 when Jackie was born. I know you're not supposed to tell a lady's age,
Oh,
but
I don't
didn't
care.
I didn't tell her age. I just told the year she was born.
I do not care. Look at me. I don't wear makeup. I'm not all about that.
And you don't have to worry. Numeral literacy is rampant
Oh, no.
within the world,
are
and
you
so
gonna
most
say?
people won't be able to do the math. So the thing is, the question was, what was the average price of homes when Jackie was born? And
Wow, 1969?
and
Probably
it
like
was
12,000. I'm going to say 10, 12,000.
not that far off. Gary, you got a guess?
Yeah. First of all, they were only huts when I was born. Right?
Okay.
I don't know. The price for a regular home,
Around
just like
30? Is that what you're saying?
He never said nothing. Leave him
No,
alone.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything.
I'm just teasing, Gary.
It's probably 20 grand or less, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So I gave the
30 grand.
yeah. You were right, Anthony. 30,000, Jackie. And then when
I thought
I
it
was
would have been
born,
less back
it was
then.
around 17 in 1964. When Mike was born in 1963, it was around 16. So it went, up like 1,000. When Gary was born, it was still really close. 1957. It was really close to to 16. It was 15,700. And
Just so everybody knows,
and
Gary is
Anthony-
our producer and Mike is our videographer.
yeah, and
Because they don't see them, so they don't.
right. And in 1981, when Anthony was born, the youngest of us, it was 95,000.
Ooh, Anthony.
So that was a little bit of history, a little bit of cleaning up, and today it's a little over $1,051 is the average price. So
in the GTA.
in the GTA. Now, I don't know, you guys may have some buzz or not, but I did want to do one thing.
One thing, that's the rest of the show.
Is that what you're thinking?
Go for it, Randy.
Okay, so the average price in 1989, now remember, 1989 was very much similar to what is this year. So, what it was is it's the crescendo of a marketplace. So the market was rising up really fast because in 1985, the average price was only 110,000. It was in 85, but by 91, the average price was 273. So you can see how the market sort of doubled itself in just a few short years, and then fell off a cliff. Now, the marketplace was very different back then, but what we're going to do is we're just sort of talking about a crash versus a crash, right? This year is going to be our crash, which will go down in history as one of the more severe crashes that we've ever had, and it's really ramped up from last year. And so 1989, the average price was 273, and then in 1990 it dropped to 255, 91, 234, and it just kept dropping. And so can anybody guess what year it took for us to get back up to $273,000? And remember, that was the average price in 1988. The reason why we're looking at this is because for the people who are saying that, what's going on now, by the summer it's going to be back, it's going to be okay. So we're just looking back at history to say, okay, well, what happened in history can repeat itself. So the guess would be 2002 was when it actually went back over what it was in 1989 to 2002. So in 1999, it was 228. So it still wasn't really back to normal, which would have been the 10-year mark. So we're talking about 12 years it took for the market to get back to where it was in 1989. And then in 2002 to today, well, you can see from 275 to over $1 million, the market has shot up, but that's a longer period of time. There's two things to be learned from there, is that one, the market will fluctuate, it will go down, but it's also going to come back with a vengeance. So it is really important that you don't shy away and don't buy into the discussion that the market will, people will never be able to afford buying a home, because if you say that, then you're going to believe that, and then that, unfortunately, that is going to be your reality. So I would say, don't fall into that. The other thing is that you're just fortunate enough that I was around in 1989, and I was selling real estate then. And the other fortunate thing is I'm around now, and I was selling real estate now. And I can tell you that the two marketplaces are very, very different. Okay, in 1989, we were the real estate market was much more speculative than it was now. One of the big reasons for the sharp decline was that people weren't buying houses; they were just flipping them, and so there were more transactions of speculation, people buying agreements of purchase and sales, than you can ever imagine. That was what kept us busy as realtors, were those transactions. And we didn't have any of that today, in today's market, in yesterday's market, in last year's market. We didn't experience any of that. So it's a little bit more of a natural marketplace. The bigger difference here is, and yes, interest rates were higher back then, and I understand that's a great argument. However,
I just want to kind of touch on a little bit, like, with what you're saying, because like, I was going to talk about today about the mortgage rates and how they've gone up, and how the cost of, I guess, owning a home has gone up as well. And I know before we've talked about how we kind of argue a little bit where I would say that that's a lot harder to buy a home now versus back in the day.
it is now.
But I think you were kind of saying it was harder back then because you have the higher interest rates, you were making less money, and there's a lot of different factors going on.
Yeah, so when I was saying that it was time specific, I was dealing with the marketplace that we were in with the interest rates that we were in. And even though the prices were high, the interest rates were so low that the payments were more affordable.
Oh, no,
and
sorry.
so you have, and versus the income.
You know, I'm talking more like a longer scale, like back, like, because we started off the show talking about 1989, like the different years, and like I was saying, like buying a home 15 years ago versus even it's based on this because
Right.
like how much, like to me, it's I personally I still think it's much harder now. Anyway, so I'll let you finish. I'll kind of go into the numbers I have.
Yeah, and so it depends what point. See, you can pick different points in history, and then the comparison says, yeah, it was harder to buy then. Right now is the hardest time in history. Right now, it beats 1989. It is less affordable now than it was at any point in history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. So the discussion that we had before actually doesn't even apply now because the environment is different. But at that time, what I was comparing it to was when I was in the business and we were attempting to buy real estate. It was really not affordable, and so but at what we were experiencing with 0.25% rates, government Bank of Canada rates, it was actually expensive prices, but it was affordable to buy the homes relative to your income. But today, it is not affordable to buy homes. The Bank of Canada has made it not affordable. Which brings me to
I think what it's done, like the way I look at it, is like you choose a house or have a life. Because honestly, you buy in this market, unless you got your plentiful, you're giving up a lot of stuff to get a house now.
Yeah. And my argument would be, you buy the house to have a life. Like, unfortunately, because, that whole thing that we started with many moons ago, that cocooning is going to be the big thing. Remember? So we would buy the in-house theater and all that stuff because we were moving the theater stations to our homes. So we're cocooning, we're bringing all the money into our home and making our home the destination to go to. Right? And we were very much like that. We had, all the big toys for the kids, the 12-foot bouncy castles and all that stuff. We made our house the place to go.
Well, it was a lot easier to watch them in the backyard than it was to take them out where there was a crowd of kids jumping around.
And we purposely planned to have our home as sort of like the control center, right? That was our vision right from the beginning. So we were kind of cocooners. We had Jackie's mom living with us. We had my grandmother living with us. We had our kids. So you can understand being the only male in the house.
And still the only male.
I had 4 generations of women in the house, and we were living in harmony. Which was pretty amazing, and so I think that was one of our blessings. And so, and it was definitely a blessing for me because, I'm pretty sarcastic, and one day I had made a joke to Jackie, sarcastic one, that her mother didn't like, and her mother told me that she didn't like that, and my grandmother told her that she didn't like the way she was talking to her grandson, and we had a big blowout, and Jackie and I were like looking at each other like, holy smokes. So we never ever had an environment. We never did anything like that again. I didn't tease her in front of anybody, our family.
You didn't tease me in front of them. You constantly teased me.
I would if we weren't in their company. So, you know, I learned a little bit of respect. It was kind of a good thing because,
I'll tell you when you learn. The one night you were playing dominoes and you were going on about, oh, you know, woman, get me a drink, get me this. You know what's going to happen. I'm going to beat you when we get home. And I just looked at him and I was dead serious. And I said, Randy, you need to stop or I'm going to tell everybody how I beat you when you go home. And his face dropped because I never said a word before that. I was really... Yes, sir. I was really quiet, and he was like, oh, and everybody just started laughing. And from that day, I started.
She found her voice.
I found my tongue, and
that was funny. I remember that playing dominoes, but you did get the beer. I just tease. So I want to say one more thing. Bank of Canada.
You do?
Bank of Canada. Or did you guys want to talk about that?
No, let's go. Let's talk about real estate.
So the Bank of Canada raised the rates
5.25
basis points, so 0.25%, which, okay, was kind of expected. But he came out and said something that was totally unexpected. We are going to freeze. We are going to hold. So for March...
I don't know. He said he's going to hold, depending on what the inflation rate does. So who knows what that really means?
Yeah.
Like, if the inflation
how much can you rely on that? Because he said that before, and that wasn't
the case.
As
long as inflation stays stable, we'll hold it. But like, so if inflation comes at 8% again this month or whatever, is that going to be the case for the next potential hike time?
Yeah, and
well,
so
they need to stop giving themselves the bonuses, and then we don't,
and this is basically how Canadians reacted. It's like, well, you know, I already got one eye on you. I'm sort of, you know, not really feeling comfortable with the things that you've done. And so I like what I heard, but I'm concerned about the governorship, right? How it's being governed. And so, and then how insensitive you are to us. Canadians, and so Canadians sort of took that aback. It was some people, the aristocrats, were definitely understanding and thinking he's a hero and he solved the problem because inflation has come down, right? And so that you know, because I can't remember what the last one was, 6.8, 6.5. I think it came down again in December, but I believe it. Don't quote me on that, but it's been coming down, and so his policies are working, is what they're saying. However, what's really interesting that I find very fascinating is that inflation is coming down globally. So the fact that he is, you know, hitting us with these interest rate hikes, we are affecting the global inflation, and inflation is coming down all over the world. So this man is like a miracle worker, like, you know, and so I mean, it is really.
But it's not like only Canada has increased the rates. Everyone's increased the rates.
Well, not everyone, but I know what you mean. That's true, but we only feel it here, and it's coming down everywhere. So it must be him. Could it possibly be like just a global thing?
I was on a showing last week, and a gentleman said to me, it's not his fault. It's the Canadian. Canadians are reckless with their money. It's how Canadians spend. They shouldn't blah, blah, blah. But people want to live. People want to enjoy their lives a little bit. And I said, are you serious? I said, do you not remember this guy coming out a while back and saying, oh, relax, we're not going to raise anything. Go out, spend, do whatever, buy your house. And then he turned around and raised the rates. How is that not him directly affecting the real estate market? But no, it's Canadians many overspend. That's what some people are saying. Which, okay, yeah, that's kind of, but it's the government spending that puts us here as well.
Well, this is that's what makes it so hilarious. That somehow miraculously, it wasn't the way in which the government and the Bank of Canada handled the monetary and fiscal policies. It was how Canadians, when they were allowed out of their houses, went and bought stuff. That was the problem. And so that was really, It doesn't surprise me because the truth of the matter is I understand that they can't take ownership over anything that they do. It is all about us. But isn't it funny that we can identify that their policies are 100% manipulating the marketplaces? The indicators that we're looking at for the real estate market the real estate market was in a strong position. All the indicators were very strong, pro-seller. Pro-seller markets are markets where the prices are going up. So if all the indicators are in a pro-seller's market, the market should be going up, but the market was declining viciously. So how did the market do the opposite of what it was actually saying? Because of the government policy, the way in which the government interacted with the marketplace to change the way the affordability so people could not do what they wanted to do. They restrict the money flow, they make it really expensive, and therefore create a false environment, similar to the false environment that's created during COVID. Right? During COVID, nobody was able to work and you weren't able to make money, and some people weren't able to make money and they weren't allowed to leave their homes, but they made it the most prosperous time in history, made a false marketplace there. That's the reason why inflation happened, not because Canadians got out of COVID and started spending. No, it's because you broke the supply chains with the policies that you created, and that's fine. You can justify if they were right or wrong. That's a different argument. But the point is, you broke them. And then when we were allowed out, now it's our fault that you broke them. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. That's all I have to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's like a lot of things. Like, I'm just looking at a bunch of different numbers here in terms of like income, family income over time versus housing costs over time. I think there's like a lot of different factors. Like, obviously, the COVID helped it a lot, but like even if you go back to the numbers you're talking about, back in '95, the average family income, sorry,
Tossing tissues.
the average family income was $55,000, and the cost of a home back then was, according to your numbers here, just over $20,000, right? So
What are you going from?
from 1995.
Okay.
So in 95, home prices around $200,000. Average income for a family in Toronto, $55,000 back in 95. Again, this is from Canadian stats. Fast forward now to 2023, average cost of home is $1 million, right? So approximately 5x the cost of the times in terms of the cost of a home. But the average family income is only $100,000, which is less than twice what it was back then. So to me, it doesn't add up, right? Like, a home costs 5 times more, and yes, the rates are a bit lower than they were back then. Well, they were anyways. But even I did some calculations here. At $200,000, your mortgage back then, saying even your interest rate was 10%, your mortgage payment would be around $1,300. Let me just double check that. Around $1,300. So it's $215. Right? Whereas now that's the same home, which costs $1 million, and your mortgage even at the 5% now, even if we go lower, we can check that as well. But back then it would be $600 back in '95 with your $55,000 income. Today at the 1.1 million, you're looking at $5,000. Right? So that's, to me, it's $5,000 a month. When you're at 100 grand, I think you're basically taking home around $6,000 a month after taxes and all that stuff. So it's
hard.
It's hard. And as I think you've been kind of saying, housing is going to become very, in my opinion, very segregated in terms of who can afford a home, especially considering that the money we're making from our jobs isn't keeping up in terms of our home payments, and then you have all the ancillary stuff as well. Like, you still want to have a life, right? As Jackie was saying earlier, it's do I have a home or do I actually enjoy my life at all, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen in terms of with these prices. Are we going to have a crash? Are these prices going to come down a bit to kind of better suits what our income is, or maybe is our income going to start coming up to match it? But yeah, it's getting harder and harder without things kind of catching up.
I think, I mean, that's why it's so important to have a realtor or a mortgage person, either or both, that's kind of in your court, because buying a home may not be for you. If you're going to, like right now, if you're going to buy a home and you're going to be miserable because you're financially stressed,
Destitute,
then you know what? It is not the thing for you. And I really hope for you people out there that you have somebody on your side that's guiding you in the right direction and not just trying to, you know, sell your house or get you to buy something, because it's just no point. You know what I mean? Like, you have to enjoy life a little. You know, financially, we know causes a lot of rifts in families, and guys, just really I think carefully before you sign those papers, and make sure that you're not, you know, stressing yourself financially, because that's no good.
Yeah. So.
And it's not like, for me, I see the ads out there everybody's doing. Oh, how to sell your home in this market. Maybe you can't sell your home in this market. Maybe it's not the right time. So I don't think it's how to sell your home in a market like this. It's like, should you sell your home? You know, because for some people, maybe you renovate the area of your house that you don't like, and now you're happy. You don't need to move, or, you know, maybe you sink the money into the existing home you have. I think it's important that you really look at those things, and you don't jump in the boat and the boat's got like 10 holes in it, you know, because you're not going far.
Okay, fair enough. What I like to comment is that as Anthony, being close to a mathematical genius, he teaches math. That's his thing.
Physics.
He's a math geek. And I am a partial math geek myself. You know, even though my grades didn't show it. So
Elementary level.
yeah.
Did they put you on? Like, did you get like a 50 or something?
Okay, I don't really want to talk about it as a trigger. So when you know, I hear certain things and they resonate in a certain way. And when someone picks statistics, they happen to pick 1995. Now, and they compared that to today. The thing about 1995 is that was close to the bottom of the. Oh, one second. It was close to the bottom of the fall of the real estate market. The market, just 5 short years before that, was 30% higher. And the interest rate, when it was 30% higher, was like 13-14%, versus in 95, it was around 6 or 7%. So what they did is, you know, they took the really unaffordable time, they moved along the timeline to find the most affordable time, and then they compared that with today. But if they just backed up 5 years more, they would find that the actual comparison would be pretty damn close, but today is less affordable. But if you backed up to like last year early, or the year before early, it was actually less affordable in '89. You know, but then that is a least affordable time in history as well.
But I think what people are saying, Randy, is that back then income kind of suited the prices, where the prices have went up so quickly that your income can't increase at the rate that the houses were.
True, but we're looking at the affordability indicator,
but I'm just
which
saying, a
already
lot of
takes
people are
into
going to tell you
account-
that. They're going to say, oh, but you're not, you know.
It takes into account income.
Okay.
It takes into account the income back then versus the income now.
So
it takes into account the interest rates then, which will be like 14% versus what the interest rates were then. Go ahead.
So I redid the calculation. I added 30%. I added 3%. I made it 13% instead of 10% in my mortgage calculation, and the new numbers. And back then, in 5 years before, income was actually two grand higher. So you made a little bit more than you did 5 years later.
Okay, so the income was higher.
Income was higher.
The interest rate was higher.
Yes.
It was like 14, 12, 13, 14%.
I used 13. I used 13%.
Okay, 13%. And then, and the house is around 275.
I used 280.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mortgage 2,400. compared to today, 5,000. So I guess it's around similar. So again, because it was 50.
Well, what's the percent?
What do you mean?
Affordability.
I don't have the, I'm
okay.
doing quick now, but well, hear me out.
Okay, no, I
so
just thought you were comparing something, but I didn't realize you were
$57,000 income.
Like you.
$57,000 of income.
Okay.
Compared to $2,400 in mortgage payment. Okay, so 57 to 2,400. So my mortgage payment went up by a factor of approximately 2.1, from 2,400 to 5,000, so around 2.1.
2,400
up to
5,000.
5,000
A
So-
month?
Yeah.
Is that your income?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's the mortgage payment. So the payment, the payment just over doubled.
Okay.
The income was 57,000
Yeah.
then, and according to the numbers I have, it was 100, just over 100 now, 109.
Okay, so that's not that far off. They're pretty
So
close.
that's what I'm saying.
And so, and that brings me right back full circle. Without all your math genius stuff, that they were really similar times. It's just less affordable now to then. But that's picking a really unaffordable time. And the reason why I picked that time is because that's when I started the business.
Okay.
And
so when I did the numbers,
didn't cherry pick a
I didn't
time.
cherry pick. I just
No, the article did.
Oh no, I just did this from I did this myself
So you, by accident, were cherry picking.
by accident. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'm glad I'm here to cross-check.
To correct him.
So if they do kick me off this show, this show will be for the public, and then I'm doing a show on Tuesday nights, which is a little bit more for realtors. It's a little bit more deeper. We laid the foundation of what's going on and where we're at, and then we're going to start to get into techniques of how it is that they can position themselves in the mind to be able to weather this particular environment, and things that we're doing also to weather the time. So that's Tuesdays from 9:30 to 10:30
p.m.
All right. And we have
Some emails?
a few emails. We had one from earlier from Karen. Sorry, Karen, for taking so long to get to it, but this is back when you were talking about us making fun of you. It says, "Gentlemen, leave Jackie alone. We love her."
See?
That was
Or
Karen?
we love you,
Thank
Jackie.
you,
That
Karen.
was Karen, yes.
So we should remove her from the draw. So let's just make a note of that.
We have one from James when we're talking about the teacher in Vaughan, which gave us, I guess, a picture of the
Oh yeah,
prosthetics
that's him.
that they're
That
wearing.
was him.
I
Yeah.
told you
Yeah.
that's bigger than his head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
but
pretty
not.
big.
They don't go out to here.
Yes, they do. If you push those
Oh,
up, they're
goodness gracious,
They're,
no.
they're, let me see that again. How long is his arms? Do we have any him showing the length
No,
of his
it's
arms?
just- it's okay.
Come on, that's
They're pretty big. They're
that's
pretty.
that's
I'll
ridiculous.
say obnoxious. Put it that way.
Yes. And what makes it worse is he has these big nipples on
Oh
them.
my goodness!
No,
Stop.
well, that's what makes it like, and
That's what makes it kind of inappropriate.
well,
more
and this
than-
is where you know he's just trolling the education board. He's hoping to get fired over this so he can make a big kabuffle about, or she can make a big kabuffle about how this they're not being inclusive.
Actually, to be fair, I'm not sure. Do you even know what they identify as? I have no idea.
No. No, because we don't know if he
trolling.
did it, if he's just or
He's-
if he is like
He's trolling them. It's so obvious.
trolling who? Who's
He's
that?
the education board.
Yeah.
Because he was in trouble for not being appropriate with his views on the whole bathroom
Listen,
thing.
I personally think, and give me kickback if you think, but
You're gonna get
I
in trouble now.
think that somebody needs to hold the education
System.
sector accountable for what they're doing, because
What
they're
are they
not.
doing?
What are they doing? Same thing as like maybe
You're getting in trouble right now.
8 years.
I can sense
I'm
it.
not sure. No, I'm not getting in trouble. I'm fighting the actual school district
fighting
now.
that.
I don't have any kids in
Do you
school.
know?
but
Do you know that people
When
who
they
fight
get-
the
let
school
me tell you
boards are
something.
terrorists, domestic terrorists?
Let
I'm
me
just letting
tell you
know.
something. About 8 years ago, and I could be off the date and all that, when they put, what was it, $3 billion or 3 something into mental health in the schools? Did it improve mental health? No. Did any of it go to mental health? No.
It probably did.
Randy,
The mental
we
health.
had kids in school and it didn't change. What they were offering before they got the induction of the money didn't change to after. They didn't use it appropriately.
Well, I would
So
say
somebody needs to hold them accountable.
I think personally they probably did do it. It's just that you think that it was there for the kids, and it wasn't. It was there for the regulators who were putting the mental health policies in place. They needed more pay. And so they then did that, and because they have mental health, they like to actually steal the money. So then they stole the money, and their mental health was cured. So it may have worked.
All right, next email from Pam, subject line, the crash. Hey, real estate team, regardless of the contest, I do hope that there is a crash in the real estate market. In that way, hopefully, more folks will be able to afford and buy a home. Love your show. Hi to Jackie.
Yay, I'm getting some love today.
Thank you, Pam. That's a good one.
I feel kind of left out here, but
Don't worry, I'll send you one.
well, here's the thing: if there is a crash, yes, it'll help. I guess some people. Well, not even really, because
affect more people.
It'll harm a lot of people. But even if the problem is with the crash, yes, the prices are lower, but it's really, really hard to even get into the market. Like you still need to have like a lot of cash. Like if you're cash rich, then you're smiling, you're loving it. But if you're the type who needs a mortgage or needs like the different banks to get in, it's whether the price, no matter what the prices do, you still are gonna have trouble to get into those homes, and it's still gonna cost you a lot once you get in because the rates are gonna be crazy. Whether you need secondary financing or whatever it is, so. It's just be careful what you wish for. Is what I'm saying.
This is in essence what the problem is, and I appreciate what you're saying, Pam. And we also want housing to be more affordable, but being more affordable doesn't necessarily mean being cheaper. And so right now houses are cheaper than they were last year, but they're less affordable. And what that means, Pam, I know it kind of seems weird. How can the prices be coming down and the houses are less affordable? The thing is, Pam, the interest rates are higher, and therefore your monthly payments are higher. So my question to you, Pam, is do you want to be able to buy a $500,000 house with $5,000 a month payments? Or would you rather buy $1 million house with $3,000 a month payments? So that's really kind of part of the question. And so, with the are you really concerned about signing to $1 million, or are you concerned about signing to $3,000 a month? Are you concerned signing for $500,000, or are you concerned signing for $5,000 a month? Then that becomes the question. People think that buying real estate is actually the price tag, but that's only for the cash rich. For the rest of us, it's actually the payments that we're buying. That's what governs what we buy. And so when the payments are higher for a lesser priced home, it is not a good thing. And so a crash that's being orchestrated in this manner doesn't help anybody. But one thing I would say is if the market was left to itself and the market crashed and the interest rates were remaining stable, then that would make Pam's dreams come true. But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Randy, that, you shouldn't really be looking so much at the price tag of what you're buying. You should be more looking at the affordability for you and not affordability for everybody. You should be looking at your financial
situation.
Yeah, portfolio, I guess. And deciding what to buy from there. Because I've had a lot of people also said, look at this now. People went out and they bought houses and they're like, this is my retirement. And now look what's happened. I've seen a lot of articles talking about that. And people do. Yes, if you get into the real estate market, it can really be beneficial when you retire because you own this house now, right? You don't have any payments. You can do if you're older, reverse mortgage, you can, take some equity out. And believe it or not, people are saying, oh, you can't do that now. The market will come back.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang on to the house long enough, and it's like you've been telling people, real estate, buying a home is not a short-term fix. It's a long-term journey, and it will come back around.
Right.
But people, we get so caught up in the now and what's happening, and sometimes we can't see, they say the forest for the trees sort of thing.
And wealth is not going to come from short-term stuff usually. Usually it's a build-up. And so in real estate, if you can look long-term, you can be a winner. One thing that I am fairly proud of is that, everyone that was, wanted to speculate in the marketplace when it was rising, that I was telling them that these are not proper goals. Wanting to buy a house and then sell it in 2 years. What happens in 2 years? In 2 years, the market could totally change. And so, and we had people that were going out and they were buying up for sale by owners, and they would own 3 homes and get private mortgages on them, and they would go in and renovate them and fix them and sell them. And I said, please stop. Please stop doing that. It's the worst business plan I've ever heard. Oh, but I'm making this and I'm making that and I'm making this. I go, yeah, it's all good when you're making it, but when the market turns on you, you will go bankrupt instantly.
Yeah.
And so, and
now you've got to ditch all those houses and take a hit.
And you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in just a short period of time that you're losing. So even when you made your $100,000 on that house and $100,000 on that house, which you may not have made $100,000 because you have bills and everything you had to pay, but you grouped it as $100,000. You forgot you had $40,000 in bills, so you made 60. But either way, you made $100,000 on this and $100,000 on that and $100,000 on that, and now you got 3 homes in the market crash, and you lost $200,000 on each home. So you're down $600,000 to the $300,000 that you made that you didn't take the expenses off, and now you're bankrupt. And so that's why I was really proud that we were actually teaching the fundamentals, even when everybody else was saying, go out, go out and do this, go out and you can make all kinds of money. No, still stick to the fundamentals because the market could shift. I did not see the market shift coming. I will be honest, I didn't know it was going to happen in March. I felt it happening in March, but I didn't know it was going to happen. But we kept the fundamentals in place, and therefore our clients were actually in pretty good position, to be honest. So that's one thing that we can be pretty proud of.
A few more emails. From Gail. Randy's radio show was awesome. It was very enjoyable. Learned a lot. He says, I was born in 1856, and here's a picture of my house. Only cost $3 US and 2 horses.
What?
It's basically 2/10.
Oh, jeez.
Right.
Thank you, Gail.
We have from Rita. Rita says, Jackie, you think you have a problem with Randy? My husband is a baker. And then she has
That's cute.
a picture of a bread house, full size.
That's a nice one.
And
I don't think Jackie has any problems with me.
No comment. We have one from Francis. Hello, your team. Enjoying your broadcast today from Toronto and learning so much. And then he says, hey, I think this is a joke. Did you hear about the last raining unit in the apartment building? It was last but not least.
Oh, not least?
The last what unit in the apartment?
Apartment building.
Available? Least as in lease?
Yeah. It was last but not least. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, working on it. I don't quite get I get it wasn't leased, but this is in this marketplace, everything's getting leased.
Not necessarily.
Not everything. It's
not
price.
Necessarily.
Well, pricing is important, but yeah, it's a weird leasing market. Actually.
It's scary out there for people that have investment homes or condos or whatever right now, trying to vet people, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough. We're trying to help out a friend right now with a lease, and
it's just a matter of, the problem is it's not hard to rent. You can easily rent, but But with the landlord and tenant laws, you are afraid
Terrified.
to rent. So you want someone who is who's better than you,
More to
someone
lose,
who has
yeah.
better credit than you, someone who has more money than you, someone but they don't want to own a house because they don't believe in it. That's the tenant that you want. You don't just So it's kind of
somebody has more to lose than you.
Yeah.
yeah. If their credit goes bad, they're going to be like, pissed off.
Wow. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking for these tenants. So which that's what makes it challenging. But to lease it would have been absolutely no problem. There's like 5 people right now that would lease it, but they don't have
Qualify.
perfect profiles. And you're only looking for perfect profiles today. Because of the landlord and tenant rules, which brings me to the point that where the government interferes with the marketplace, which is like the landlord and tenant board rules, and makes it more difficult, they're actually think that they're helping tenants, but they're actually driving up the price of properties by making it less attractive for people to get into developing rental buildings. And so that's one, because of the rules and regulations, and therefore you've got a smaller pool of properties, more people fighting for it, and you've got them being much more pickier on who they're renting to, which is making it harder.
You have to be.
Right, but those are the government rules that are doing that, and because the government rules are doing that, the citizens are sort of losing, right?
Well,
especially if you go through like a divorce, right? Because usually your credit wreaks havoc during a divorce. Things go absolutely crazy, and then your lawyers are going to figure out exactly how much money that you guys have, and then the fight will be based on how much money you have. So you're going to spend a lot with the lawyers, you're going to come out of it with whatever, and you can't buy nothing. Then you need to rent, but your credit has been killed. So now it's weird.
Okay, so quickly, I'm just going to go over one thing. CREA, who's the governing body of the real estate in Canada, says that the average Canadian house fell 12% last year. The average. So people are
Canadian.
Yes.
In GTA, it's much larger.
No.
Yes.
They're reporting the GTA is down 9.1%.
From when?
From what are they
21
saying?
to 22.
21.
From 2021 to 2022, Toronto, the Greater Toronto Area,
Isn't that
what they're
up?
saying
It went up 8.6%.
No, well, this article is saying it's down 9.1%.
This might be one of those things with the numbers.
I would have to see what they're
Yeah.
talking about there. They may be talking about a specific segment of the
But
market.
what's funny,
who knows?
yeah,
But
and
it
who
went
knows?
up
These
8.6.
articles, we go over these articles, like you can't believe everything you read, just like they say. The saying that I was told is, what is it? Believe half of what you see? No, believe.
I know what
Oh
you're
my
saying.
goodness! Why can't I get it out now?
We'll get it next week, but just to add on to what you were saying there.
Dang.
Not that they're lying. It's just that, again, with numbers, it's just when are they comparing? Just like with Biden last year, how interest rate was whatever 2%. If you base it off of the 2 minutes that passed or the last 2 minutes, right? So
It remains stable.
yeah, over
It was
those 2
zero.
minutes,
Yeah.
It was zero.
But what's funny is that how people are talking about people leaving Toronto because it's expensive. So then the prices are drove up. Like I'm looking at here, and once again, this is relative to this article. Everything that went up that is actually in a plus from 2021 to 2022 are like Saskatoon, in Quebec City, Calgary, Sherbrooke, Quebec, Trois-Rivières, I'm not French, so hey, Quebec, St. John's, Newfoundland, St. John, New Brunswick, all of those, like St. John, New Brunswick is up 14% year 2021 over 2022. So, then let's talk
2022 or
about
2021,
people that
yeah.
lived in Saskatoon, or St. John. Now they're having the same problem as people in Toronto because people are moving there and driving the prices up, right? But
Well,
and it's believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. That's the saying, because it's all here.
better late than
Say.
never.
Yeah, that is the saying, people.
On that note, I think we
Close it out.
are near the end. Do we have any more emails?
No, I think that's it. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining along for the ride again.
Yeah.
Hoping to see you guys next week. If you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, quandaries, send us an email at onair@yourteam.pro or check out our videos, our past videos on YouTube at Your Team Pros. We'd love to see you and hear from you. And as always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on realityradio101.com. Have a great weekend.
Bye for
Bye
now.
for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.